next hour or so. I'm Jonathan Green, alongside me, Alan Hyde.
We've had a couple of little drops of rain already, and only very light rain, just a feel in the air. But the weather forecast was that we would have a little bit of light rain, just a shower or two as the afternoon unfolds.
I think back in the 80s, late 80s, there was a hurricane even, but thankfully, I'm not going to predict that. But yes, it's certainly going to make a big difference if it does. But we've got some stories about the GT. We just spoke to the man of the hour, effectively, and I say that because he's making his debut here.
Hit the wall. So if you bear in mind that it was a brake problem, he got away very lightly.
Yeah, he did actually. It could have been a lot worse.
And that was the first time he's done so much as kissed the wall over the 2.5 days that we've had so far here at Macau.
To Porsche, of course, and Audi and Mercedes, who have dominated the GT races in the last few years, you begin to understand that this is fast becoming almost the highlight of the weekend. Obviously Formula 3, obviously the guys involved in the main event will always steal the show, and they will rain, and all that does is create a slightly glinty, greasy surface, and then it's just, well, it's like being on an ice rink with roller skates.
And it is a green circuit as well, because overnight, of course, these are the roads of Macau, so they get dusty. There's buses, there's scooters, there's bikes, there's cars, there's TAC GT World Cup and the SJM Macau GT Cup. And we'll get the opportunity to have a look inside at the office for the day of some real star drivers. We were saying yesterday how incredible it is that we have been able to attract top drivers.
I love the paint scheme. You won't miss it, will you?
You really won't. 3 Mercedes so far, and we've got another one to look at as well. Very neatly got out of the car as well for Mauro Engel.
He's sprightly.
Really is, in the multicoloured Mercedes on the inside of Row 2. Elects to absolutely love this circuit. And how many times do you hear a race driver say that?
No, there isn't one that hasn't. I haven't anybody said, yeah, it's pretty dull, really.
No. That was an uneventful race.
Yeah, not much going on in
Things you won't hear at Macau.
Yeah, something to talk to. I mean, how about talking to the bike riders about here? Exhilarating at all?
Yeah.
Change gear as the race goes on, but that's a fantastic shot on the number 11 there. And we'll be seeing more of that as the race goes on. But
it's helpful to us as well, because we know exactly what gear they're in.
And yeah, what they're up to if there's a problem.
So just threading their way through a busy grid.
Yours, and it looks like the Northern Lights, because it actually lights up. The artwork is actually above the car.
Augmented reality is what it is, and the next generation of BMW art car.
I think I might have to invest in that for myself. I need some augmented reality for my lighting.
I'd quite like the BMW, to be honest.
Either one.
Yes, around Europe this year, racing with the BMW M6. Tom Blomqvist, of course, who's been completing his 3rd year in DTM.
What about Pommer the Bomber today? He looked very good in qualifying.
On the outside of Row 4, and then back to...
And like I said, he won here in Formula 3 back in the day. Here's a man who won more recently in Formula 3, Felix Rosenqvist, the young Swede. There he is. And the only Ferrari in the field today.
You want to do some interview later? Or?
No, I don't think I do.
Beautiful car. Marco Wittmann, double DTM champion, is next. 13th in qualifying, car number 91, double DTM champion. Focused, as always he is, ahead of the start of a race.
Yeah, what I love about this is everybody's route from Mirko Bortolotti to this World Cup is that we've got the world's best drivers and the finest cars that they can do. And I was saying earlier in the weekend, that's literally tantamount to the whole history of Macau Grand Prix anyway, is that's how it's become over the years, more and more prestigious. Now, let's talk about this man. The Rams added to each of the Mercedes, so in an effort to try and make it a little bit more equal, which I'm sure the Mercedes boys and the AMG boys will not be happy about, because the truth of the matter is, and I actually put this question to the top 3 Mercedes boys yesterday, which was, hey, you guys seem to have a handy car.
His success here on the Gaia circuit speaks for itself. Eduardo Mortara on pole position in the Mercedes. First year that we've been able to say that. Eduardo Mortara in a Mercedes alongside Daniel Giancarella.
Yes, I wonder what Audi must be thinking. Rafael Marciello, a single-seater expert and now a GT man too. Nico Müller in 5th place. Augusta Farfus, winner in touring cars here. He comes back with Schnitzer BMW in that M6. Tom Blomqvist, he raced in Formula 3 here. Marcus Pommer's raced here before. He's in 8th position. Chaz Mostert in 19th position. And at the back of the grid, it's Hiroki Yoshimoto of Japan in the Porsche 911. What a field, what a day. My first question to you as we go on this warm-up lap is how far can Robin Hood and his...
the circuit to get as much heat into the tyres and brakes as they possibly can, then we'll see just what the circuit is like with these few little spots of rain that we've had leading up to the start of this race.
Yeah.
It could be particularly treacherous.
It could be very treacherous if it rains.
Mercedes, Mercedes, Mercedes. The top 2 rows are lockout by Mercedes-Benz. Audi and BMW complete row 3.
Yeah, you make an interesting point because this is a double-edged sword as a race because you do not want to make a mistake in this qualification race for this rolling start, and here we come.
Really challenging for third. He's got third already.
And Darrell Engel takes the lead as they go through Lisboa for the first time. Is anybody going to get caught out by the famous corner that is? Ooh, Rosenquist just misses the Lisboa corner there, but they're all safely through.
Super stuff by the Brazilian in the 18th BMW Art car.
The outside wall of Reservoir Bend doesn't look as though there's major damage to the car, but we'll keep you informed as to whether... Oh, no! Oh, mayhem! And there's millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage here at the mighty Macau. And that is one of the worst GT accidents I've ever seen here. And in the place, the city that is a gamble, the lottery has absolutely come to an end. Right at the front of here is the 911, and you can see his frustration. Cars everywhere. Lucas de Grassi not even on the ground.
Not on the tarmac.
And not able to still of the Tom Blomqvist. He's involved. So is the number 5. It just depends. The shot is not as clear, but I can tell you a concertina effect, given that you're coming down Moorish Hill into this right-hander, could mean that literally the whole field has been affected in some way.
Tail of the field, so therefore we can start picking out and working out how many cars are okay. So certainly we've got Nico Müller's car there, hard up to the barrier on the left-hand side of your screen. Nico Müller's Audi pressed up.
It's a scene I've seen.
They reckoned on the weather forecast, if we got a shower, a proper shower, it will be about 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's 25 to 1, everybody. Local time.
So Rafael Marciello talks to the AMG team. His first outing with this Mercedes crew is these dollies. They work really well.
They do.
They literally just pick the front of the car up, put them on the dolly, and then pull them away.
Oren Ventura, of course, who won this race last year, albeit with a different manufacturer. Oh, here we go, on board.
Oof. Scary, and that, of course, is the number 11 of Lucas de Grassi, who's the one who ended up off the ground. Look, there he is. It's good.
He needs a recovery. It was a tall mountain to climb from the penultimate row of the grid, but with... Obviously, he wouldn't want it this way, but with a number of cars not able to take any kind of restart, then a number of... let's not.
Let's not. Let's talk about the recovery some more, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
But I'm not going to blame the 911. I'll say that, shall I?
And absolutely, and very good to have the onboard shot. So we found out what happened leading up to what can only be described as a very upsetting scene. Start.
And interestingly, people putting hoods on and umbrellas up. We have rain, folks.
It's really dark, really, really dark. And
the wind's just got up, so I've got a feeling it is raining.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yes. As you can see, the number 48 car is fire and clean. In all my years, we're looking at Chaz Mostert's car being dragged back.
The fourth of the BMWs, and I've just seen spots of rain on the camera lens as well.
Let's have a look at some of the sort of highlights of that crash, and you can see Juncadella gets turned around. Everybody having a bit of a laugh because, of course, he drove for Group M, probably still does, Group M in Asia. And good to see Tim here, but Calamar, one of the interested bystanders here, watching what is going on in the GTs. Oh, a little bit of damage, only a slight. And also join the conversation if you've got questions about the cars, if you've got questions about the event, if you want to know what's happening and how to get hold of it. Yep, everybody's on TV and waving, and I can assure you we are used to umbrellas here in this part of the region for the sunshine, but today we have a rather truncated GT World Cup, and I just wonder what Robin Frins is thinking to himself now, because 1 minute he was nowhere, and if you saw free practice, and many of you wouldn't have done, but
there wasn't even the vaguest hint or suggestion that there was something wrong with the car when I was down there. There was no...
Well, they brought a battery out. Maybe they need to, yeah, maybe they were pushing him and he just didn't get it going, but they're pushing him back, that's for sure. But now he will, to be honest, now you can see them going through the incident, and there's no question, you can see them look, twisting their tyres, trying to get rid of the dirt and dust on those tyres. It'll clean up as the race goes on, but for the first few laps, for sure, that is going to be a problematic area, and one where you have to be certain.
Now we've got Mar Engel down in pit lane as well, Daniel Juncadella.
So the safety car continues, the lights on, and that will signify that no change to the start yet. So gap the safety car to give himself a chance to get those tyres up to temperature and get the brakes up to temperature. That's another factor here, that also you want to kind of gap the safety car so to get some heat into those brakes, because the worst possible scenario is that as you...
Least until the race is properly underway and the safety car is down back safely in pit lane. That potentially is the case.
So the safety car comes down towards the Melco hairpin, which also has got some debris involved in the racing line. We are green, and away we go, and Eduardo Mortara's got a much better start this time, and Yoshimoto at the back not so much, but everybody cleanly through. Reservoir corner, it's Mortara, Farfus, Marciello, Frins, Oyoung and Mostart, and already Frins starting to make a move. Now Rafael Marciello certainly will fancy his chances, so to speak.
He's got to look in his mirrors, because Robin Frins is looming.
Good start from Edo, and he's going to try to break this. I say early on, there's only 16 minutes left. By Mortara at 128.452, and he is putting the hammer down, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the fastest lap of all as he extends that lead coming towards our bend. Eduardo Mortara, 5-time winner of the Macau Grand Prix in different forms, but here comes Frins in the Audi, tucking himself up.
Meanwhile, as we look at the Audi of Frins in 4th place behind the Mercedes of Rafael Marciello, so too we've looked at Augusto Farfus. Not losing touch with Eduardo Mortara, 1.2 seconds behind as they cross the line. Look, that's where the BMW is compared to
Mercedes. And Robin Frins again, nudging ever closer on the exit of Melco. Down the hill they'll come towards Fisherman's, up through the gearbox. One more time, looking back from the Mercedes as he just everybody in the top 5.
He's put the fastest lap in as Jazz, 2:21.182.
Wow, that what a story that is.
Absolutely flying in the BMW.
So BMW have come back to Macau in no uncertain terms and sensed the opportunity to win the World Cup.
Wow.
V8 man, and of course this would be a real turn up for the books if he could turn that round. So he has probably the least experienced of anybody out there. Daryl Young still circulating, but in 6th place. He lost a place. And Yoshimoto, we've only got
away from him, a 2:20.367. So the car, the Audi in 4th place at the moment, has just put in the fastest lap of the race in his pursuit of the final podium position from Marciello.
And he has dropped Mostert a little bit now as Frins, and he's moving up the board. And Rafael Marciello is his target. Frins with the lights blink.
This wide-eyed look that he has, just enough time for a couple of blinks there. Yeah, Eduardo Mortara is so incredibly intense at the wheel.
Great onboard shot. That really does show you the man at work coming out of the Melco. And, excuse me, out of
to hit the wall there, other than some kind of a problem with the car, which it proved to be in qualifying. Eduardo Mortara once again puts in the fastest lap of the race on that intense lap we just watched. A 2:19.880 for Edo.
But follow quick.
Now, once again, Robin Frins is having to look in his mirrors. So this is attack one lap, defend another lap. So a huge amount of pressure in the car for Robin Frins. However, I wonder if when this race got underway originally, when he was down on the penultimate row of the grid, if he might have thought he might have finished this.
As the big boys of German manufacturing go head-to-head at the hardest circuit in the world, the Macau Grand Prix, and Eduardo Mortara has a 1.7-second lead, and I think might extend it because he's just done the quickest second sector again, his personal best, and this he just stalled. I mean, there's no reason. I don't know. We'll find out.
There's the Brazilian in the carbon fibre art car. A unique next generation art car, the BMW of Augusto.
Several cars, most of the field involved in it, and wherever you're tuning in from the Americas late at night to the early hours in the UK and Europe, or if you're here live in China watching it across the internet, we welcome you to the 64th running of the Macau Grand Prix, and you're watching Mercedes. That's his job in the 888. Meanwhile, Robin Frins has, I think, settled for 4th place at this stage, and frankly, given what's happened over the weekend, both up and down for Robin, I think he'll be made it. No question that they picked him, hand-picked him to do this race on this day, to do this job, and he's doing it. It's like an astronaut. He's got the mission, and he's doing the perfect launch so far, and he's in his own planet for sure.
Has put in the fastest lap of the race on that lap, 2:19.153. I think just about everybody has had a fastest lap during this race.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it?
It really
Through
is.
he comes.
Trading fastest laps.
And this is, of course, the last lap. Can Rafael Marchiello do something here as they go in?
On the back row of the grid, because Chaz Moster is exactly what he did. He was on the final row of the grid for the first start. He's going to finish this race in 5th place.
And what a story for Eduardo Mortara. He came here not as a relative unknown, but as a typical Formula 3 driver. Tree here at Macau as he takes the checkered flag. Mr. Macau is back to winning ways after disappointment last year. He's done it again, but it's only the qualification race. Meanwhile, Augusto Farfus, who's also got a pretty splendid record here at Macau in touring cars, thousandths of a second off that fastest lap. So Maro Engel still on the pace.
8 finishers in total for our qualification race, and a number of cars will be hastily being repaired now. My final thought: Eduardo Mortara rules the roost at Macau.
My thoughts are, I'm sad for Marcus Pommer, who looked so good. I'm sad for Juncadella, for Rosenquist, a 2-time winner here. Renger van der Zand, likewise. Marco Otto in 7th, and Maro Engel, the only finisher at the back.
Trying to judge his mood down in pit lane when I had a chat to him.
He seemed a little bit off. I don't mean like to you, but
he didn't seem bouncy, did he?
He didn't seem himself, no.
Is it because Maro Engel got a very, very good start,
or is it because he's a factory Mercedes driver and you have to be that way?
Oh, you have to be more serious.
You have to be more
struggling to get out, and
they're just talking about where they're going to have a drink later. There's Robin Frins
in the background. Well, Edo looks a bit more bouncy now, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. A little bit more happy. Good result for Augusto. He hasn't been here for a few years. Championship for touring cars coming up next.
Paddock gate will open in 3 minutes.
3 minutes, the paddock gate will open, and we'll be doing it all again. But while we await for the podium, why don't we take a look at the highlights from the FIA into this moment at Police, which was catastrophic in many ways. And I'd estimate about 50 million's worth of damage. Rafael Marchiello, and he came pretty close. That was about the closest he got And likewise, Farfus tried to close in on the leader, Eduardo Mortara, but the non-blinking